Oh my god, I'm so blown out on the screen. It's fine. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's podcast time. Matt is not here this week. He might be joining us halfway through, so for now, you're stuck with me. So, this week, we are going to catch up on a few news pieces. So, we've got a bit of Overwatch, a bit of Helldivers, a little bit of Ubisoft fun times, and then we're going to dive into a little discussion about asymmetrical games. But in the meantime, I'm joined by Jacob.
Hello.
What's up? And Peter.
I am an inanimate object.
An inanimate object, I see. So, how are you guys doing? What have you been up to this week? You been playing anything? You been watching anything? I'm actually going to lead with Jacob. How's your Couch to 5K going?
Painful. Starting from scratch, and it's just like, yeah, I should have done this a lot sooner, and everything hurts now.
The hardest bit is starting.
Yeah, I imagine it'll get easier to go along, but I just knew the first day was just going to be painful, but it needed to be done. So
Yes. Keep up with your stretching and just keep on doing it, and you'll get there.
yeah,
I still have days where I find it really hard, so you'll be fine. What is it you're doing this week? Is it like running for a minute, walking for 90 seconds? Is that the first week?
yeah, that's it. And I'd probably help my fitness really is there's plenty of undulations and hills to run up and down, so it's going to push my body to the limit. But hopefully, as it go further along, my body will just accept it, and then it'll get better as it go along.
It definitely will, and you'll be surprised how quick as well. But anyway, more fun things. You been playing anything this week?
Yeah, so one brand new game, one game that I bought recently, but it's been out for a while, and one I've had for coming up to a year. So started playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Finally got that after waiting for so long for it to come down to an affordable price. So I've been enjoying that. And then I've been doing a bit of EA Sports WRC. I do like a bit of racing and rallying, and it will lead on to one of my news topics later on. And then the brand new game I've been playing just came out on Game Pass. I want to say a week and a half ago. It's called Flintlock: Siege of Dawn.
I've always been playing that.
And yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. It's another sort of Souls-like game, which I'm not going to lie, they're not my favorite type of games, but because I played Evil West and Remnant, I thought I'd give Flintlock a go, and especially when it was showed at, was it the Xbox Showcase? It looked really interesting. And so far, I've enjoyed it. I will recommend it to anybody else who enjoys that type of game as well.
I do like a Souls-like. What's your thoughts on it, Pete? I know you play Souls-likes as well, or Souls games.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it as well. It wears its influences on its sleeve with the combat. The storyline really isn't Dark Souls like, and it has a storyline.
Yeah, that's the main thing I don't like about the Souls games is that they're a bit too subtle with their storytelling for my liking. Like, I'd like a more narrative-driven game, or overtly narrative-driven.
Don't like having to hunt down the weird obscure items miles away from where it actually is relevant to read about it. It gives you a wee hint that only makes sense if you've read like 4 other hints.
Funnily enough, no.
You don't have like all day. You don't have hours and hours to make spreadsheets of different references for different items. Or you could, do what everybody else does and let somebody else do it and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, there is that. Like, I don't like having to hunt down these things. I like to be spoon-fed to a certain degree. And that's why I like the Jedi games so much. Like, they've got the combat of a Souls-like game, but it's very clear what you need to do and where you need to go. So is Flintlock more towards that side of things than the Souls, the pure Souls games?
Yeah, I'd say it's more closer to the Jedi Survivor than
Oh,
the Souls games.
maybe I'll have to have a look then. You been up to anything else this week?
Gaming wise, that's about it really. But I have been binge watching Bones as well. I quite enjoyed that series, so I've been watching that. Then finished The Acolyte as well, which was a series. But that's about it really.
I did not like The Acolyte. I'll be honest.
I think I was more disappointed than disliked it, just because it was exploring a new area. I was like, right, Star Wars with martial arts, what could go wrong? And it had so much potential, and it just let me down so much.
Yeah, it was nice to see something outside of, I guess, like the Skywalker era. But honestly, I just thought it sucked. I thought the storytelling was poor. I thought some of the acting was poor. Like there were bits that just didn't make any sense. So no, and it's also a bit up in the air as to whether that's even going to be renewed, isn't it?
The way it ended, you'd expect another series, but unless they sort out, improve the quality of the writing, then I don't know. There's a couple of characters I was invested in, but like you said, it was just poorly written, and it needed to step up really. That.
Well, we'll see what happens with that, I suppose. I haven't got my fingers crossed. You didn't watch that, have you? Did you? That was a terrible wording, but you get what I was trying to say, right?
Yeah, I haven't watched Star Wars. I think Mandalorian season 1 last time.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you probably dipped out while it was still at its peak, if you like.
Yeah.
So apart from Flintlock, you've been playing anything, watching anything, Pete?
On Game Pass as well, I have been playing the Dungeons of Hinterberg.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
I played it on a whim. After playing a wee bit of Flintlock, I seen that another game had come out this week. Or was it last week? One of the two. I thought, no, you know what? I'll try this out. It is quite a wee cozy game. It's very low stress. The story's a little strange. It's about like a town in, I think it's not Germany, not Switzerland, like around that region, that has dungeons show up 3 years ago in monsters, and they've turned it into a tourist attraction.
Oh, okay.
So tourists come from out of town and kill monsters.
I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah, it's a strange setup for it, but quite enjoying it. There's obviously more going on, it would seem. So yeah, just been playing a little bit of that. Also we'll get into it later on, but yeah, I've been playing a decent amount of Dead by Daylight with the 8 versus 2.
Yes, a certain asymmetrical game.
Yes. So I won't speak much of that. We can speak about it. We can speak about it later on.
Okie dokie. Well, what have I been up to? I have been playing Jedi Survivor, the game I love to hate. Still playing it. I've been trying to platinum it on PlayStation, and I've got 3 trophies left, and that's it.
Is this your second playthrough then, or first?
So, at least, possibly third, maybe. No, probably second, I think. So
okay.
I played it through I tried to play it through on the hardest difficulty and got stuck at a certain boss. So then I dropped it down and I completed it on the like second hardest difficulty. And I've just recently completed it on the hardest difficulty, so I feel like I finally properly defeated the game. Although the true enemy of that game is the platforming, I think, rather than the bosses. So I have, in terms of trophies, I've got win all the Holotactics games, buy everything from a shop, and then get all the other trophies. So I'm nearly there. I still need to play some more Tomb Raider as well, actually. Have you played any more of that, Pete? I know you finished 1, didn't you?
I played a little of 2. I got to Vienna,
Oh, okay.
which is, I think, pretty notorious for being a bit confusing. I remember back in the day, like Vienna has like the second game. That's kind of the wall where most people give up or can't progress because it becomes a bit too obtuse. But for them, we've got guides now, so I'll just look at that if I get stuck.
I find that really frustrating in games as well, actually. I found that with the other game that I've been playing, that super smooth segue there, which is Alan Wake 2. Like, I do get very fed up of getting stuck in that game and not knowing what I need to do. And I don't know if it's just because I'm playing it for the first time on stream and that my attention is a little bit like split, or like I'm not fully concentrating because I know I'm streaming, but I found it it's a good game, but I found it quite difficult to navigate. And like sometimes I just don't know what I need to do, and then I end up going on a YouTube video and watching someone else do it, which like I feel like I should be able to work out what I need to do in a game. But I don't know, maybe it's me. Have you played it yet?
No, I keep meaning to get. I bought it at Christmas and then haven't played it yet.
You'd be able to get the DLC now as well.
Yeah, I definitely get that. Especially because I didn't play it at Christmas because I went, I'm going to play through Control again and I'll play the DLC because it's an Alan Wake DLC and it's an Alan Wake as DLC.
Yeah.
So I play through all Control again and play it all through the Foundation DLC and then play through all of the Alan Wake DLC. And I was like, right, cool, get to it. And then Final Fantasy VII Remake came out the next week. It was like,
priorities.
Next week, I think I finished it on the Wednesday and it came out on like the Friday. And I was busy on the Thursday. I was like, I can't even get to this. And then it's just, I've never got back to it. So I'll get to it eventually.
Well, a bit like me, and I might eventually actually finish playing it. I am definitely right at the end now. Like, after playing it since it came out in, like, November. Was it? No, it's October, something like that. But even so, I've been playing it for nearly a year.
Yeah, and I imagine if it's kind of puzzle heavy, going away for a couple of months, then coming back.
Yes, that's probably been my downfall, actually. Like, not just sitting there and playing it all in one go.
Yeah.
But you live and learn. I'm only going to play games on stream that I'm actually familiar with now.
Yeah, that's probably good policy. I remember trying to do that with the Outer Wilds. I stepped away from it for about 2 months. I came back and was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. That's a really great game.
Outer Wilds, that's the same people that made Avowed, isn't it?
No, that's the. I don't know. They came out the same year. You're thinking of the Outer Worlds.
Oh, I am, yeah.
Which I also did play through. In fact, that's a game I got to the end of and then didn't finish it. The same as you've done. Like I literally was done all the side quests and everything. It was like, do this to the final mission, and then just didn't do it.
All right.
The Outer Wilds is the space game. You control like this kind of alien race. You're in a spaceship, or you control a spaceship. You control a person, and you fly around the spaceship. And after 20 minutes, the sun will go supernova and destroy the solar system, and then you'll restart the day.
Is that on Game Pass?
I don't think so.
Oh, as it's 20 quid on
I'll-
Steam.
I'll double check. Yeah, I'd wait for a Steam sale. I would say it is.
I know that Matt's not here to do the Game Pass plug, and I'm not doing it either. That's his thing. Don't want to step on his toes there.
Yeah. Yeah, and Microsoft haven't been doing well the past couple of weeks. I don't know why I give them any kudos. Yeah, they're already getting my £8 a month. That's enough for them.
Oh yeah, did you talk about that on the last podcast? Start putting up all the prices and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not happy.
Yeah, I mean, I have Game Pass Ultimate, but all these streaming services and Game Pass as well, and I think PlayStation will keep going up in price, and it's going to come to a point where I'm going to have to make a decision on which one I want to keep, let's say.
Yeah, it's so annoying because everybody got rid of cable television, these things to get away from this, and they've just done it all again, but with streaming services. We're paying as much, if not more, than what we were before.
But this is it. It starts. Well, let's say we had Netflix and maybe one or two others, but they had different companies all on the same platform. It's like, right, great. I'm paying, let's say, £8 a month for this, and I've got all these films, TV shows, great. But then suddenly Disney go, oh, hang on, we can make more money by doing our own platform. And then Paramount did the same thing. HBO did the same thing. And now you got countless amount of streaming platforms, and it's like, I can't afford all these. So something has to give. And this is what's going to happen with the Xbox and PlayStation. If they keep on putting the prices up, something will give, then they'll just lose no end of subscribers, and then they'll have to put the prices back down.
Yeah, like if you were to subscribe to every platform now, we're talking about maybe £150 a month, something like that. Like if you're subscribed to, Netflix and Disney Plus and Paramount Plus and HBO Max and Crunchyroll and everything, like ridiculous.
And then you got Amazon that has the audacity to go, oh, you got Amazon Prime, great.
Oh.
But if you want to get rid of the adverts, well, you need to pay an extra £3 a month. It's like, no.
Sounds like a pirate's life for me.
Well, that's the thing. Piracy, as far as I know, is steadily going up again.
I'm not surprised.
No, I'm not surprised either.
Right.
No.
Sorry, I was just sorting out my sound settings. Apparently, I'm a bit quiet. But yes, we do not condone piracy on this podcast.
No,
Definitely not.
No.
Yep.
Oh, shall we talk about some news?
Certainly.
Yeah,
I suppose. I'm currently being blinded by Eurogamer. So let's come over
They
here.
need a dark
Here we
mode.
go. Yes. I'm not much of a dark mode person because I'm one of those weirdos where if I look at something that's too dark mode, it actually hurts my eyes. Like light mode, I can deal with better. I should probably just turn down the brightness on my screen because if you can see me on the screen,
I was going to say
I look
blasted out.
Yeah.
Yes, I am currently extremely white, even more so than usual. Oh, that should be. I've just turned the brightness right down.
Yeah.
Right, that'll do. That's a bit better. Right.
Yeah, I was better. Yeah, before you looked like you were getting flashbanged. It's,
Yes.
Toaster just put in chat.
Oh yeah. This is just like my normal like complexion. I'm just that white. Right. So, Overwatch.
Yes. So, the best sequel that has been ever made, the most necessary sequel ever made, Overwatch 2, is now trialing 6v6, having gone to 5v5. So, in the space of 2 years, they have cancelled the PvE perpetual mode in that game, which was the main reason that they called Overwatch 2. they have cancelled PvE totally, which was the whole point of Overwatch 2, was so they could have more PvE events. And now they're going back to 6v6 over 5v5, because 5v5 was part of the reason they went to Overwatch 2. So there's literally, at this point, no reason for there to be on Overwatch 2. Not that there was any reason to start with, but now there's even less of a reason for it to be 6v6 or on Overwatch 2.
Why couldn't they have just done the PvE? Why was that so hard?
It costs too much money. I mean, they don't make any money. Overwatch. This just a poor wee indie developer or Blizzard.
Well, you know, it's so hard times at Blizzard.
Yeah. Essentially, they didn't give them enough resources.
Right.
From everything I've seen of internal, now obviously, I don't work there, so I couldn't tell you exactly that. But from everything I know that has been leaked, they just don't have the resources for it.
Yeah.
Because they had mad goals with the PvE. Like, they were wanting, like, the PvE was going to be a separate mode, and you were going to be able to control every character, and every character was going to control differently because you were able to increase their levels as the game mode went on. But they're releasing a character like every 6 weeks, something like that. So every 6 weeks to once. So it's basically essentially you have to create a character twice in those 6 weeks. It was just crazy. I don't know why they decided that that's what they were going to do. Just like, well, just give us the original, like, 19 characters. Just give us that for the game mode first, and then you can work on the rest.
I feel like they don't act based on, like, actual players' feedback either.
No, that's been a Blizzard thing for ages. As an ex-WoW player, they took 2 expansions to get out of Borrowed Power. And I can kind of understand what happened, but it was also their arrogance. So, just to very briefly explain Borrowed Power, how most MMOs work, as you can imagine, is your character gets up in levels, and they'll get better gear, and the numbers go up, and that just happens ad infinitum. Borrowed Power was a system to stop that because they kept having to reset the numbers in WoW. They had to reset it in. So what? I believe it's the first one. And then they had to do it again, like 2 expansions later, and it was essentially just going to be, we're going to have to just keep resetting the numbers because the numbers are getting silly. Like, you're doing like hundreds of millions of damage per second. And if they keep going that scaling, then you're going to end up doing trillions of damage by the end of the next expansion. So in order for the game mode not to have to calculate trillions, because that would slow the game right down, they just cut everything down to like 10,000 odd percentage wise. So Borrow Power is a system where they can bring it in, you do what you need to do for that expansion, and then they get rid of it and bring another system in the next expansion, so they don't have to keep resetting the numbers. But players hate that because it's basically a treadmill that you never finish. And it was awful. It was making a whole bunch of other decisions, but they would take so long to change it. Like, players get done with Borrow Power in the Legion expansion, which happened 2016, I believe. They only get rid of the Borrow Power in the Dragonflight expansion, which came out in 2022.
Okay.
There was 2 other expansions in there. So by the end of the first expansion they'd done it, players were like, we could probably don't have to go through this again. And they then did another 2 expansions of it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was a long explanation of saying Blizzards don't listen to their players a lot.
Yeah, but also it looks like, I'm just on SteamDB at the moment, and it looks like the player count for Overwatch 2 is quite consistent anyway. So unless, like, the player count massively, like, drops, do you think they even would listen?
I don't know. Like, the game's got its fans. I don't get it. I despise Overwatch at this point.
Yeah, there's 33,000 people playing it at the moment.
I know it's crazy to me, but like a lot of people like it, but I haven't liked it since like maybe 2018, 2019. Because they essentially started balancing the game around like the top 1%.
Right.
They basically balanced around the Overwatch League, which is now dead. That was their big initiative where they would pay stars and actually give them healthcare, which is cool. But they expected just like insane revenue from it, and it just never came. And then I remember they moved away from Twitch onto YouTube streaming.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, when they did that, the numbers plummeted. Who would have thought? As we are streaming on YouTube. Love you, YouTube. Yeah. That's been a long road for Overwatch. I liked it when it was more of a casual, fun shooter that had basically. I felt like fun was the core aspect rather than the competitive aspect.
Yeah, I don't like the competitive like element around it. Like I don't mind playing it with friends, but there's always for me people that take it a bit too seriously and ruin it.
Yeah, well, we have not mutual friends. An acquaintance that we know of who literally ruined that game for an entire group of people. Like they all don't play that game anymore because of this one person, because of their attitude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Tony just said in the chat that Overwatch in 2017 was great.
Yeah, it was like it was really, really fun. It was so different as well from it aped a lot of Team Fortress 2.
That was also the era of battle royales, wasn't it? So it was something a bit different as well.
Yeah, God, 2017 was actually like looking back on it, I didn't feel like at the time it was actually a really good time for shooters. Yeah. So yeah, it's like they're testing 6v6 out in Overwatch, so hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, 2017 was it really 7 years ago? Wow. Tony said he stopped playing Overwatch because of a certain person. Well,
That's the certain person I was talking about.
Who could this be? Right. It's flashbang time again.
Oh God.
I just need to lean back. It's fine. So, talking of Blizzard, I see you've brought us another Blizzard-themed news story with what I think is pretty good news. World of Warcraft team forming a 500-strong union. That's some pretty impressive collective bargaining power right there.
Yeah, I thought it would be nice every once in a while when something nice happens to Blizzard to bring it up.
Yeah.
So technically it's two good stories this week about Blizzard. But one's maybe a lament of what we had lost and they're having to try and scramble back. But the World of Warcraft team, as far as I know, is pretty much as a whole, not just like one section, just the entire team has formed a union. So hopefully...
Yeah, it says the entirety of Blizzard's 500-strong World of Warcraft development team have unionized, which, yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, so hopefully that gives them a lot of protections, hopefully at least a better game, and a better work environment. We don't need to get into the hellscape that used to be Blizzard. There are articles and much smarter people than us who can go into more detail about that. Let's just say it was not a nice place to work a lot of the time, unless you were part of the founders, the upper management. And apparently, as far as I know, a lot of that just didn't get exposed to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully good times for.
Yeah, hopefully the seas of change as well.
Yeah. I don't know how retail is doing. I know the classics, the 2 game modes, are on a bit of a downturn right now. But I will always have a special place in my heart. Special place in my heart for WoW. It's easily the game I've played the most. I don't want to give it a number, but it's probably in the 5 digits.
I was always too scared to get into WoW because I knew people that started playing that game and then disappeared off the face of the planet for like months at a time. So I was always scared I'd be a bit too addicted to it and then
Smart.
nobody would ever see me again.
That's smart. It's a smart way. It's a smart thing to do.
Right. So next up, we've got a bit of Helldivers news. I think we're all still playing that, aren't we? I was playing it just before this podcast. Are you still playing it, Jacob?
Dabble in it every now and again. I still enjoy it. It's just I've been playing other games, so I haven't put as much time as I want into it.
Yeah, well, there's a big old update coming, if that can lure you in. Because I keep seeing stories about how the player count is dropping, blah, blah, blah. But I think the game's just naturally settling down into its natural player base. Although I don't think they helped things with nerfing weapons and skills.
No, definitely not.
But I actually don't know a huge amount about this update. If you've got a rundown, Pete.
Yeah. The Hero Gamer article should get into that a little bit.
Yes.
But the gist of it is that they are adding a difficulty 10. They are adding a couple of new bugs, including God, I can't remember the name of it. It's like a tentacle bug. Like basically, it's to force you to stay where you are to deal with it. Or the tentacles will.
Oh, don't get
you.
too excited, Jacob.
Yeah, you calm yourself.
I might need a minute.
Yeah. They're also adding a spore charger. So it's a charger that releases spores, so you can't see it that well.
Oh God.
So that seems fun in a not fun way.
Mm.
And they're also adding, I think, for definitely bots, but also maybe bugs as well. They're going to have bigger bases for you to clear out.
Okay.
Yeah. So taking the 360 might actually be worth it at this point.
Yeah. It's more of a liability, that thing, but if you've got a bigger base to use it, then great.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
the
yeah,
HE barrage.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
why I normally go for the 110 mil one rather than the big one. But yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I see the tentacles. That
Yep.
reminds me of that thing in Half-Life.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Traumatized by that level. And this is out in August.
Yeah,
Right.
August 6th.
Oh yeah, there's the tentacle monster right there.
So I'll be going Tuesday. Is it?
Okay. Oh my God, is it that soon until August?
Yep.
That's payday Wednesday.
Yeah, it's my payday on Wednesday as well. Very excited. Are we getting another war bond as well?
They haven't said anything.
No, I can't see anything about that on this article either. Tony, do you know?
Recently? What was that jungle thing?
Yes, there was one quite recently, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I've said to myself, I'm not buying any more war bonds until I finish buying everything else in the other ones. So I'm at least one behind.
Yeah, I was saving up for the war bond, and then I saw an outfit I quite liked and go, no, screw it, I'll wait.
Tony says there are a few more biomes. Like this swampy looking one.
Well, yeah. I actually forgot about that. Yeah, they're adding more biomes to it.
Okay.
Yeah, like I probably don't have time this week, but like I would like to explore like the conversation, we'll say, like the zeitgeist around games losing player counts. Because I don't think it's the healthiest thing for people to focus on, maybe.
No, I agree with that because I keep seeing articles talking about like how Helldivers 2 is failing and like look at how Baldur's Gate 3 is doing compared to them and like why do all these games keep losing all their player base? But I feel like it's a bit more nuanced than that, especially when you're comparing games of completely different niches.
Not
Yeah,
against.
definitely. Like there was
Mm.
there was some single player game that people were talking about. It was like, oh, look, it's lost all of its players. It was like it was like 6 month old.
Oh, it was Power World, wasn't it?
That as well, yeah. Because that's coming back, is it not? Like that's steadily had an increase in players.
Well, I think some of these games as well, they don't expect to go anywhere near as big as they do, but they end up going viral. So I think they end up getting a player count that's maybe a bit inflated compared to what its organic player count should be.
Yeah, I think that's a decent amount. What happened to Helldivers?
Yeah, and then they didn't help with nerfing things, and also
the Sony thing.
not be the Sony thing.
Yeah,
because that's like 170 odd countries that they lost right there.
Yeah,
like they didn't help themselves.
No.
But yeah, they were naturally just going to start bleeding players.
Yeah, I agree. Because people would lose interest after a while anyway. Tony says he blames TikTok. Short attention span. Short attention span has effed kids in general these days. I can't read that out, Tony, because I think I'll get demonetized. Because apparently YouTube does that now.
Like, you got all the games that were, people started playing during the pandemic. They went through their peaks, and when things went back to normal, the player base went down. Fall Guys, prime example, that had a huge player base, and then that just sort of dropped drastically until it just reached a steady number that people still seem to play.
Yeah, because everyone went back outside again.
Everyone touched grass.
Yeah. Ew. Right, what else we got? Oh, it's me up next. So, have you guys been keeping up with Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Nah.
No.
No, not really. I saw the demonstration from, was it the showcase and whatever the Ubisoft one was, but after that I was just like, it doesn't interest me in the slightest.
Oh, I see. So it would seem that it hasn't been very well received by the a population of Japan.
Oh, okay.
To the point where there's been like politicians getting involved. There was like a historian that consulted with the game who has been like stripped of all his accreditations. So it's gotten so bad that Ubisoft have issued an apology, in air quotes, to Japan. So it says, to our esteemed Japanese community, a message from the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. First, we want to express our heartfelt thanks for all your support for the Assassin's Creed series, which now has its own history spanning almost 20 years. Over this time, we have explored various settings, time periods, and characters, blah, 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 blah. For many of our team, creating an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan has been a long-cherished dream. So I was quite excited by this setting as well. Like, it sounds really cool. So since the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we have received many positive reactions, but also some criticism, including from you, our Japanese players. We share your passion for history and deeply respect your care for the historical and cultural integrity of your rich heritage. We would like to address a few points to clarify our intentions and creative decisions. So basically, Tony just summed it up in a chat. We have a black guy on screen. I know what we need, hip hop music, which it's not about the color of the player or anything like that. But like my interpretation of it, like every single Assassin's Creed game features people who are like native to that time. So Assassin's Creed Syndicate is a couple of Cockneys from London. Assassin's Creed Origins is, an Egyptian guy living in that time. The Ezio trilogy, set in Italy, an Italian bloke. But Assassin's Creed Shadows features what is now, I guess in air quotes, historical figure called Yasuke, who was supposedly a black samurai around this time. So there's been a fair amount of outrage around it. That might not be the right word, but the Japanese community don't seem to like it very much, to the point where they've had to come out and make a statement about it, which is quite a non-apology. So we've put significant effort into ensuring an immersive and respectful representation of feudal Japan. However, our intention has never been to present any of our Assassin's Creed games, including Assassin's Creed Shadows, as factual representations of history or historical characters. Instead, we aim to spark curiosity and encourage players to explore and learn more about the historical settings we get inspired by. And I don't think anyone has an issue with this. Like Assassin's Creed 2 and at least Revelations has Leonardo da Vinci in it as a character that helps Ezio build machines for him to fly with, and he helps develop his hidden blade. So I don't think that's the actual issue here. Assassin's Creed Shadows is first and foremost designed to be an entertaining video game that tells a compelling historical fiction set in feudal Japan. Our team extensively collaborated with external consultants, historians, researchers, and internal teams at Ubisoft Japan to inform our creative choices. Despite these sustained efforts, we acknowledge that some elements in our promotional materials have caused concern within the Japanese community. For this, we sincerely apologise. All game footage presented so far is in development, and the game will keep evolving until launch. Based on the constructive criticism we have received, we will continue our efforts until we put this game into your hands and beyond. We also want to clarify that while we've been consulting with many people throughout the development process, they are in no way responsible for the decisions that are taken by the creative teams. Fair enough. So it's, to me, just like a bit of a non-apology, and I think we'll just have to wait and see like how well it is received. But what I think is part of the issue here is it is a game set in feudal Japan that has in the footage that they put out for the promotional footage, it's got a black guy going around feudal Japan beating up black Japanese people to hip hop music. They're saying that they're trying to be respectful to that time period and to their culture, and that's what they're putting out there. Like, I personally don't really feel particularly strongly about it, but I kind of get it. And there is another character as well, a sort of female shinobi character. But like literally all Ubisoft had to do was make the main character Japanese, and we wouldn't have any of this. But like I said, to me, it's just Ubisoft being Ubisoft. I don't know. Like, have you guys been following this at all? I find it all quite interesting, and I think I was watching Mutaha, if you've heard of him, from Some Ordinary Gamers, and he did a bit of a deep dive into this, and the sword that they've been using for the promotional material is literally like from One Piece. They've just lifted it straight off there rather than designing something.
Oh.
Apparently, the historian behind it said he was a samurai because there was no evidence to say he wasn't. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a tenuous link there.
Everything I've seen is consistent with someone being a samurai.
Mm.
He was cast as a retainer for, I think, Nobuo Odoanaga. I mean, I probably butchered that, his name there. Apologies. But as far as I know, there are plenty of others who that would have also been true of and been a samurai. I'd also, I had my problem with all this criticism, a lot of it, but there's a game that came out a few years ago called Neo. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, that was a Souls-like game where you played a white guy who also existed, an Irish guy going through feudal Japan and beating up Japanese people.
Mm.
They made 2 of those games, and there was nothing about it. But the protagonist is now black, and now it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really fair point, actually. Like, it just feels like it's just kept on snowballing, though, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's gone as far as it has, to the point where, like, there is being a statement put out. Like, the only logic that I can kind of see to, like, explain the difference is that traditionally, like, Assassin's Creed games, apart from Black Flag, feature protagonists that are native to that time and, like, that country. And maybe this is a bit of a deviation from it, but I said that's the most I can find. But then again, like, is there really this much outrage over it, or is, like, this the likes of X, formerly known as Twitter, blowing things out of proportion a little bit? But the fact that Ubisoft have come out with a statement does make me think otherwise.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think Ubisoft should
Yeah,
say anything. They're better off just keep their mouth shut about it.
yeah, like, just wait and see how the game does, because I really enjoyed Mirage, and I thought they were kind of coming back to form with that one, because I felt Valhalla was far too big and sprawling, and it was bordering on quite boring. But I did wonder if part of that was I didn't really care for seeing my home county in an Assassin's Creed game. But, like, I thought for Mirage, like, they massively scaled it back, and it did feel like a bit of a return to, like, what the early games were. Not quite as early as 1, with its extreme repetitiveness and having to ride around on that horse a lot. Like, it's just a tight, like, good game. And I'd hope to see the same from this one as well, but I'll wait and see what the pricing model looks like, I suppose, because that's an also issue I have with Ubisoft games.
I'm about to pay £30 more so you can play it 2 days early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I kind of don't have a horse in this race, because I have completed 1 and 2, played a little bit of Brotherhood, and then played a little bit of Origins, and didn't like them.
I really liked Origins.
I wanted to like Origins, but I for some reason I just couldn't get into it. No toaster. You could play as 2
Syndicate.
characters in Syndicate, yeah.
Yeah, so Syndicate, it's Evie and
brother and sister.
Jacob, I think. So yeah, you can play as either one of them. But other than that, yes. Although I'm not sure in Shadows whether you can play the whole game as the shinobi, I can't remember her name, or you can play the whole game as Yuzuke, or it's a mix between the two, so you have some Yuzuke storylines and then you have some as the other characters. I honestly don't know. I don't think they've even released that much information yet.
I thought, just for what I remember, the E3 showcase, I thought they said you could play either or. Maybe I'm wrong. I think maybe it's like different play styles, or maybe you do one thing as one person, then do it as the other.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I've got kind of no horse this race, because I doubt I'll play this game. So.
No, I have played most of the franchise's games, but I don't have particularly strong feelings about it. I just found it all very fascinating, to be honest. So that's why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
But
it's an interesting thing to discuss.
Yes. And I am actually interested to see where it goes and what how many people are pre-ordering it, how many people buy it. But we'll see. I don't even know when it's out.
I assume this year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But speaking
of... I think they've hit their peak Assassin's Creed after
Valhalla. 2 was peak Assassin's Creed.
yeah, I'd agree with that. Although, what did I do with this stuff? I don't want to get into like years old Scar, but it does my head in what they did with Desmond.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Like, surely the plan was always to build up Desmond and then have a Assassin's Creed game set in modern day with Desmond as the main
Yes.
character. That seemed to me to be what we were building towards. Apparently not.
Tony says, as long as the gameplay isn't as bad as Star Wars Outlaws looks. Wow, Tony, that is like the smoothest of segues you've helped me with there. Has anyone seen the footage of Star Wars Outlaws?
Just what they released at E3. I know
Yeah.
in 10 minutes or so get released. I haven't watched any of it yet.
Oh, yeah, from like a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my favourite bit, which is also like the most replayed part on the IGN video, shows the worst looking explosion I have ever seen. Here it comes. Like, I'd have expected this from a game that was like maybe 15 years old in terms of effects. And like, I would say that graphics aren't everything, but when you're asking for how much money from a game, like, you kind of expect it to look good, I think.
Yeah. I just realised how much on there though.
Oh God.
What?
Well, I seen that over, and that's it. I was like, is that not a thermal detonator? And then it had a wee explosion. I was like, I had to pull myself out. I was like, oh, you're an air Peter. Shut up.
Yeah, you can use a thermal detonator to jump higher now. Yeah, Tony says you're a nerd.
Yeah. Like, it's just because I know thermal detonators are supposed to be like they are like a walking war crime. Like, you're not supposed to be able to get your hands on them easy because they are so powerful.
Mm. I mean, it kind of looks like Assassin's Creed with blasters to me. And it also doesn't look very good. Like, there's, in this showcase, there's this whole bit about, like, where you're just riding through the desert and there's, like, nothing going on. Like, you've got 10 minutes and this is what you got to show us.
It's annoying.
Ubisoft love their one game, our game, that every game just gets poured into.
It looks like Assassin's Creed, but with blasters. Like,
Yeah.
it's got the stealth elements, it's got missions.
I was going to argue it looks a bit more like the more recent Ghost Recon games, just without the squad play.
Mm.
But again, it's just annoying because they finally got the exclusive rights away from EA to allow other developers to make Star Wars games, and then they make something that just looks bland as this.
I think even in this footage, I'm not sure where it is, but you can see like very visible frame drops as well. So I'm not holding out much hope that it even performs very well. But either way, like, I'm not remotely interested in this. If it comes to Game Pass, I'll play it. But I'm not spending money on it. Like I say, far from what I've seen.
Wait for it to. I'd imagine it's going to have day one patches on it. So maybe once it sorted itself out, maybe I look at it. But
it's not a full price kind of game.
No, and how much are they charging for it?
Lots. Let me have a look.
They're normally like £60 upwards now.
Yeah, they've got it in like tiers again, haven't they?
Yeah, it's either buy it outright for the standard or deluxe edition, whatever versions they've got, or you get that whatever their version of I think it's Ubisoft Player Plus or their own subscription version of it.
So the base game is £60.
Okay, yep.
And for that you get the base game and a pre-order bonus, which is cosmetics. Yeah. And then you've got the gold edition, which is £95. And for that you get the base game, the cosmetics, 3 days early access, and a season pass. Season pass. 2 DLCs that will release after launch. Okay. And then you've got another one, which is £115, which also includes cosmetics, more cosmetics, and an art book. Or you could pay $14.99 a month. So the best deal is to get whatever this subscription is for 1 month and then cancel it. Then you can have the game for £15, kind of. Yeah,
Well,
Tony
you-
said they're locking missions behind a paywall. Yeah, this is that season pass, right?
Yep.
So from what I've seen on this, like 10 minutes, it doesn't make me want to spend at least £60 at the moment.
Yeah, but you can think back to, was it £115 for the Ultimate Edition? You get something physical. Go back to the older Call of Duty games. You used to get RC cars or night vision goggles, and now £115 will get you everything that's all digital.
And they could always just take it away sometime. Didn't Ubisoft basically say that? Was that Ubisoft? Well, they said, like, don't get used to players have got to get used to the idea of not, like, actually owning their games.
Yeah, it's like the Crew. The server shut down, I think, early this year, and because the game was an always online game, once they shut it down, that was it. It was useless.
But anyway, that's Star Wars Outlaws. I'm not excited. Long-suffering Star Wars fan here. Right, I'm taking a long time on news, aren't I? Jacob.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
EA Sports.
Yeah, this is. I won't take too long on them, but this is sort of EA doing something right. So last year they released the WRC game, which like I said, I've been playing. I do enjoy it. I like the rallying games, but my biggest concern was were they going to do the same thing that they've done with other sports games like F1 or football? That they're going to bring a new game out each year, and I really didn't want that when there was going to be minimal changes. So they've announced a roadmap for the game, and their plan is, so the game was based on last season, so they're going to do a DLC pack which will bring new cars and new stages for this season instead of just buying a brand new game. And if you buy this new DLC pack, it's going to come with 2 more DLCs that will be available. One later this year, one beginning next year, which will include more stages, new cars, and that. So it's reassuring because it means, like I said, I don't want to buy another version when there was going to be minimal changes. It's nice just to see they're going to use this engine and this game, add some new stuff to it. Hopefully they'll use this game for maybe 2-3 more seasons, and then develop a new engine or put some major changes into the game and then release a brand new version, rather than like what's the EA Sports Football on that, where they do one every year and you're just like, well, what's actually changed in each year?
Oh, lots of things. It's definitely not the same game re-released again and again.
Exactly. And that's
Oh, this is quite
F1's
cool,
guilty for it
actually.
as well. Yeah, so I like I said, I'm excited for it. They haven't announced for a price for it yet. All I know is the DLC is coming out in October. So there's a new season, a rally pass, which you play the game, you unlock new customizations for liveries and race suits and that for your character. But the first major expansion is going to be in October, which I'll see what the price is, but I am looking forward to it a little bit.
Well, if you're not buying Star Wars Outlaws or Assassin's Creed Shadows, then maybe you should spend your money on that.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a lot cheaper than.
Yeah.
It won't break the bank so much. So
Better value
yeah,
as well.
yeah. So EA, you've done something right for a change. Congratulations.
Wow. If someone clip that. Right, and you have brought us something for Humble Games. I've heard about this, but I haven't actually read into it. So what we got?
Yeah, I've read into it, and in the space of 24 hours, there's like, you had the original story and 2 further updates. I was like, okay, so it's now Humble Game. Well, it's not necessarily the whole company; it's more the boss at Humble Games has been an arse. So the Humble Games is going through a restructuring operation, and there are reports out there that saying it's laid off all its staff, but the boss has insisted no, it's not shutting down Humble Games. It's been moved, so a lot of the operations that were being done at Humble Games is now moved off to third party companies.
Yeah, I just saw that.
So this is there was a call that went out and to the employees of the games, all 36 were laid off.
Okay.
Which so they put out the
Oh,
they put
yeah,
out a
they
statement.
put out a statement written by AI, or that's what at least people were saying, right?
So yeah, one of the updates, it came from the former Humble Bundle creative lead, Chris Radley. He said this is a total shutdown of Humble Games. Operations have been handed off to a third-party consultancy. No staff are left. And you had him accusing the boss, like you said, he wrote the statement was written by AI rather than himself. And even the director of publishing at Baldur's Gate 3 studio also suggested the statement had been AI generated. So
Okay.
I do feel sorry for the staff at Humble Games. It looks like all the staff have been laid off, and it's now moved off. The boss has moved it all off to a third-party firm to finish off the remaining projects. But yeah, it's horrible. But then there was a further update later in the day from the boss who said, no, this statement wasn't AI written. And yeah, it's just again, it's another company with laying off the staff. It's a bad time to be working in the video game industry.
Yeah. Is Humble Games linked to Humble Bundle, or is that something else?
No, it's the same company.
Oh, is it? Okay. Wow,
So
that sucks. And especially if
yeah,
they wrote it, if that was like they did use that AI to help write that statement, that sucks even more. Like, it just shows a complete lack of like care, I think, if you can't even be bothered to write something.
yeah. Well, took the word out of my mouth. It is. There's lack of any remorse in the decision. It didn't even put a thought or a minute into to write a proper statement. It's just like, well, I'll just give it to AI. They can write it for me. It's just pure laziness.
Yeah. Right, so that was Humble Games, very depressing. So you might as well hit me with your other depressing bit of news about the Xbox 360 store.
Yes. So we. Yeah. So the end is very nigh now. I did mention, I think, a few episodes ago that the Xbox 360 store is closing down, and it is very close. As of recording, it will be closing midnight tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's, it just feels like an end of an era.
It is. I bought Crackdown on there not very long ago, and I also bought Sonic 2006 on there, which is probably my worst purchase ever.
That was that's just a depressing. But yeah, it basically means you can't buy any digital games on there or DLC for them. But if they're backwards compatible, so you can buy them on the Xbox One store or the Series X, Series S, then that's fine. You can still buy it there. But any game that is just purely for the 360 and not available anywhere else and not backwards compatible, it'll be
It's
gone.
just gone. Okay. That is sad. I got some very fond memories of Xbox 360 games.
The 360 was the first console I played multiplayer online with, so I do have plenty of fond memories.
Yeah,
And the
same
Red Ring of
actually.
Death.
I think the first multiplayer game I really got into was Call of Duty 4, First Modern Warfare.
I think I was a little bit later because I think I played a lot of Halo 3. I think that was one of the first, and Call of Duty World at War, which was the next one.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Modern Warfare, apparently Modern Warfare 3 is on Game Pass.
Yes, so that appeared 4 days ago. So we were expecting more Activision Blizzard games to start appearing on the game store. So I think I reported last episode that Crash Bandicoot was going to make an appearance next month. And so with Black Ops 6 going to be day one access on Game Pass, they have just put the most recent Call of Duty game on it, so you can play it for free. But it has mixed reviews, mainly because the single player campaign was one of the most half-assed attempts ever from them.
Yeah. It's like, why even bother?
Yeah, well, as you know, that they make that most of their money from multiplayer games. So my gut tells me, they spent so much time on a multiplayer, and then they're just like, oh wait, we've got to put a single player campaign. So they just took a multiplayer map, put some objectives on it, and go, right, that's a single player mission. And it's just like, no.
That's lame.
And it's a half-assed, lazy attempt at a single player campaign, and it got quite rightly blasted for it. But it's a free game to play. But
I'll probably
at
try
least
it just because it's free.
I'm only going to do it just because I played the first remake, and the second one is just like, well, I've got to see out the trilogy, but I'm not going to enjoy it.
Nah. It got to be done anyway.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that wraps up actually quite a long news section, unless either of you guys have any other random news stories.
No, I'm good.
Fallout London, is it?
Oh,
It
yeah.
is. I keep seeing memes about that. Is Prince Philip in it, or is that literally just a meme?
I think that's just a meme.
As a goal.
Yeah. At one point, the Queen was in it as a ghoul. But they said before it came out, if she died before the game was released, then they would take her out. So.
Oh,
obviously they took her
okay.
out.
Oh, okay.
But yes, for a while, the Queen was in the game.
Yeah, this what I've got on screen is what I've seen of Fallout London.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
I mean, like, I can imagine them doing it. And then there was somebody that posted, smoked a cigarette, shanked a police officer, and then went home and turned on Fallout London. And no, this got delayed, didn't it? Because they put out a big update after the Fallout TV show came out, didn't they?
Yes, they updated it for new consoles and on PC, and it broke thousands of mods. I think it broke pretty much every mod when they updated it.
Mm.
So they had to go back, and I had to try to make it work with the update, but it's not working. So they've had to go back, and to get this to work, you have to download a patch to roll back the game to an older save.
Oh, jeez, really?
Yeah, I've not been able to get it working. It's a pain. Apparently, it's been a pain for a lot of people to just get the rollback working, and it's not even they've not even attempted at that point to put in this mod, which is pretty much a total conversion.
Yeah.
Like it even says when you download the mods, like, hey, you can't play Fallout 4 once you've installed this. You're going to have to uninstall this mod to play Fallout 4 because it's changing the game so much.
Yeah, I think I might wait a bit for that one.
Yeah, I think I downloaded both. I tried to get it to work, it didn't work, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for this to be more seamless rather than just.
Yeah, same. Like, I would like to play it, but I don't want to spend ages faffing around trying to make it work either.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of mods that they recommend as well for you to download as well. I was just like, they say you don't have to, but they recommend them. So I was just like, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Fine. It's okay.
Yeah, there's other things I can play, like Flintlock.
Yeah. And as far as I know, I think it may be a wee bit buggy right now as well.
Oh, okay. Well, it is a Bethesda title.
As I was about to say, it's a Bethesda game, so that's just standard. That's part of this charm.
Right, well, that was quite a lot of news. Shall we talk about some asymmetrical gaming? Or games, I should say. So, the inspiration behind this discussion is a few of us have been playing a game I can't remember the name of. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yes, Spirits
yep.
Unleashed. Yeah, so it's another Ilphonic Studios game. It's a whole ton of fun. So we thought we'd have a little discussion around, well, I suppose, what is an asymmetrical game, just to introduce that concept, and what is out there and what our favourite ones are. So I don't know the official definition of asymmetrical, but it's basically more on one side versus less on another side, right? That's my layman's terms.
It depends on the definition. That's what I assumed it was as well. But when I was looking up last night, they brought up a lot of good points that I went, yeah, that's fair enough. Because I'd seen that they had Counter-Strike in it. I was like, that's all right. Counter-Strike's an asymmetrical game. What are you talking about? And I realised, wait, you can buy different guns on each side. So they're not symmetrical.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, or natural selection. And it was like, yep, natural selection. You go either the humans or the aliens. That's also not an asymmetrical game. I think for the most of us, we would consider the 4 versus 1 or like 2 versus 3 type thing, where you get very different powers. Like that's more what we're talking about. But technically, you can go to that extreme. Like Battlefront is technically an asymmetrical game.
Yeah. Yeah, I never really thought about that. Like when I was, I googled best asymmetrical games to try and research this, and I kept seeing Among Us come up, and I'd never really thought about that as being an asymmetrical game, but technically it is, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And I'd seen a top 10 list. I'll probably try and find it. But yeah, the list annoyed me, especially when it was number 1.
That might have been like one of the lists that I saw. Oh, we've got some terrible sites here. We've got Game Rant.
Yeah,
I think
the
it was
Game Rant. Let's have a look. Best asymmetrical multiplayer games. Go away, cookies. See, on here we had some games that I haven't even heard of, like Evolve.
Yeah, Evolve was the kind of. I don't actually it was a progenitor. It was the one that popularised the format, I would say.
Yeah, and that died, didn't it? Quite quickly.
It was not well received.
Turtle Rock Studios. That was Back for Blood.
Oh, right.
People,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Did the original Left 4 Dead as well.
That just reminded me of what I think is at the top of this one. Tony says, I disagree. Asymmetrical games for me are when one side is different from the other side without choice. If both teams have the option to get the same things, then it's not asymmetrical.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
I read on Wikipedia's definition of asymmetrical gameplay, and one of them they included is Rainbow Six Siege.
I did see that.
Really?
Oh, that was number 1. That's what annoyed me.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think that's in the Game Rant list. Because
no,
I don't know if it's in it. I don't think it's number 1.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, because that annoyed me.
I would not have classed that as asymmetric. It's if going by the definition, it's just because you got one side attacking, one side defending, and they got different guns and different abilities and that, but the teams are evenly matched, really. Well, it's a 5v5 or something like that. So, but you got some that would design, some the attackers got abilities that are designed more for destruction, attacking structure, whereas the defenders got stuff that's more likely more abilities that to hold out or reinforce an area.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah, it's like by the definition of two sides are not exactly the same, then yes, it is asymmetrical. But again, like if you're including that, then you're including things like Battlefront, which is also asymmetrical.
Yes.
You get different
Yeah.
heroes, and the Counter Strike because you get slightly different guns on each side. Like it's technically correct, which is obviously the best kind of correct, but it's not in the spirit of being correct.
No, I don't think so. Although, what is it with asymmetrical games are always seems to be part of a franchise?
Yeah, I don't know, but it's just a thing.
So we've got Ghostbusters, Evil Dead, which I've got up on screen, and I didn't even realise that one came out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
Mhm.
Friday the 13th, R.I.P. and Predator Hunting Grounds. Is that it? Is there an alien one?
Yeah, Killer Clowns.
Oh yeah, that one's only just come out.
It's all that same company. They make the same game. It's all them. They made Predator. They made Friday.
Ilphonic.
They made yeah.
Apparently, Saber
Killer Clowns.
Interactive made the Evil Dead one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not bad company.
So the reason you haven't heard of that is because I think it released on Epic,
Ah,
and then I think it might have came to Steam, but by that point, no one cared.
what about Resident Evil Revelations 2?
No.
So
It's number 13 on this list.
I know it's
Sake.
not. It's basically because the way that game worked is that one person had the gun and played like a typical Resident Evil character, and the other one, whether they were playing as Moira or oh god, what was that?
Hang on. I know who you mean.
Yeah,
It's the kids from
they had like different abilities. Like Moira had like, the flashlight, and the little girl had like psychic abilities, wasn't it?
Yeah. She could point out things for Barry.
Yeah. So
Where is
yes, technically they were asymmetrical, but it's a single player game. No, go away.
All right, we'll scroll past that one then. There we go, Among Us.
Natalia.
Natalia, that's it.
Yeah, that name wasn't
My
in this
favourite
little
Resident Evil
blurb.
character, Natalia.
Yeah.
Some of these I've never even heard of. Like, Who's Your Daddy?
It's a 1v1, but it is quite
Oh,
funny.
Dad versus Baby.
Yeah. So the baby's trying to get itself killed and the dad's to stop it.
The player that takes the role of the baby is tasked with finding dangerous objects around the house to off themselves as fast as they can, while the opposite player does their best to prevent them from doing such. That sounds like so much fun.
So you can.
Tony says, "I'd let it."
So I've seen gameplay footage, people playing it. It is funny. So you can either get it electrocuted or you can get it cooked in the oven. There are a lot of creative ways for the baby to get killed.
The Secret
That sounds
Neighbour?
off.
Yeah, that does sound fun, actually. I'm up for that.
I've never played that game. I think it was
Yeah.
popular for a while. They released a sequel.
It's a spin-off from Hello Neighbour.
Yeah, actually made me thinking of Hello Neighbour.
Yeah. Goose Goose Duck. That's basically Among Us, but with geese.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. Classic.
Ah.
Can you even play that anymore? Is it like proper gonzo?
I think it's at the end of this year. The dedicated servers are going down.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think like the matchmaking is going down, so you don't be able to play with your friends.
I did quite like that game. I always found it a bit slow. No, I don't know if it's because it's such a big map and there's a lot to do. No,
We have a couple of friends who were very into that.
Yeah, I would usually just end up dying.
Yeah. Even as Jason, who can't die in the game.
We've got A Way Out.
Yeah, see that's where they're stretching it. Like, no.
So this is like a co-op game, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like my personal definition of a asymmetrical game is like competitive lobby. But I suppose that's because like I always associate it with games of a certain developer where it is literally 5v1 or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's one on this list called Prop Night, which I feel like I've played. But that did also remind me of Prop Hunt. Would we say that's...
I mean, yeah, Prop Hunt is one, but talking about that game just hurts me.
It's Prop and Seek you're thinking of.
Ah, sorry, that's my bad.
Yeah, me and Tony were lamenting that game because we had so much fun playing that during the pandemic, didn't we?
It was dumb. It was dumb fun, and they decided to kill it.
Yeah, I think it's just like properly gone now as well.
I
Well,
can't play it at all.
they killed it, I think.
So the people that did Prop Hunt is the same people that did the day before.
Prop Hunt or
Oh.
Prop and Seek?
I know Prop Night.
Prop Night, okay, yeah, because I was going to say, like, you talk about Gary's mod.
No, the developer and publisher for Prop Night, same people that did the day before, which
Oh.
it's you can't really call it a game.
I feel like they peaked with Prop Night then, because I remember watching Tony play some of this and it looked quite fun. But I don't think we actually got around to playing it, or nobody else bought it. Because we've played a few like prop hunty type games, like that Midnight Ghost Hunt as well.
Yeah.
You played that, didn't you? I think.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It was chaotic at times. But wasn't there 4 ghosts you had to hunt, or was it just the one?
There was definitely more than one, I think, but it wasn't like... I didn't think it was evenly balanced in terms of numbers. Midnight Ghost Hunt. I still have it. It's just not installed.
No,
But
Prop Night is shut down.
how is it?
Yeah,
Well,
shut down.
Game Rant,
Early this month.
your article is very out of date because it has it at number 6.
When was that article published?
Let's have a look. This was published December 2023, so it's not that old.
Okay, I'll give it benefit doubt because the Prop Night shut down in January 24.
Oh, okay, but they still had it really high up on their list. Like, it can't have been doing well. And as we got, We Were Here. I don't know what that is. Yeah, it looks like a 2-player game. Keep talking and nobody explodes. I haven't heard of Dead by Daylight. Here we go.
I've never heard that one. But if you guys never played, Keep Talking and No One Explodes.
I saw it on the TV show. Was it a couple 70s playing it? It does look hilarious, but basically what it is one person's got the bomb and the other player will have the defuse manual. So you're meant to communicate between each other to defuse the bomb.
This sounds like some kind of team building exercise kind of game.
It's a little, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for anyone who is on the lookout for a relaxing game to play with a good friend on a lazy afternoon, this game may not be the best pick. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is an intense co-op game that involves both parties working together to defuse a bomb before the timer runs out. However, only one player gets direct access to the bomb and is allowed to interact with it physically to inspect all the modules that need to be solved. The other player has access to the bomb defusal manual with all the answers to each module's puzzle. The tricky part of this asymmetrical co-op game is that neither player can see the other screen and can only successfully defuse the bomb by communicating the answers to one another. Now, I think we should play that, Tony. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, if guys fancy getting a divorce in, game to play.
I think it's VR compatible as well.
Oh, there
yeah.
we go. Even better. It'll be like, I'm sure I've seen another game where, I'm thinking of, like there's a hand sim game, I think, where you've got to defuse a bomb. I think that's what I'm thinking of, maybe. I play too many hand simulator games. So Dead by
the hand simulator, is that the one with the do surgery or operations and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's loads of different ones. So you must have gotten out of playing hand sim survival with Baron, because I played that game far too many times. It's where like you're abandoned on like a desert island and you've got to try and survive, and at night all these snakes come out.
Okay.
There was hand sim horror as well. I've played that one, where I think you've got to try and get into a house and defuse a bomb and then escape. I'm not sure where the horror element comes in. And then, yeah, I'm sure there's one where you have to disarm a bomb, but that's a slight tangent. I don't think hand sim games aren't really asymmetrical unless it's like literally you versus the game, because it's so hard. In terms of Dead by Daylight, have they just done a new game mode? Or...
Yes, they just released 2 versus 8. So that is 8 survivors versus 2 killers.
So what's like the balancing like on that? Because I'm guessing you've played quite a bit of that.
It's a lot of fun. It's dumb fun. The balance is not great. Honestly, it's very balanced towards the survivors. In all honesty, because it didn't double the amount of gens that survivors need to do. Because normally you need to do 5 gens, but in this mode you only need to do 8, and the gens are quicker to do as well. But it's definitely, as I say, like if killers get rolling quickly, survivors won't catch up. But if they don't, then the survivors can breeze through them easy.
Okay.
But the game's just dumb fun, honestly.
I feel like this is probably the best asymmetrical game. At least at the moment, like if you think about like how long it's been out for, they're always releasing new content. It's always stayed consistently popular. Whereas all the other ones I know of kind of have their moment and then they just disappear. Whereas Dead by Daylight feels like it's always quite consistent.
Yeah, it's definitely got a centrifugal force to it, and it kind of drags all other asymmetrical games around it.
Yeah.
I think all the licenses that are involved with Dead by Daylight have had Alien and Stranger Things, Tomb Raider's suddenly now involved with it, and Alan Wake. There's loads.
Yeah, Tomb Raider just came out a couple weeks ago.
I'm just seeing what else we've got. See, this list here has Back for Blood.
Yeah, if you're playing the multiplayer, then...
Yeah, I was thinking that because I've seen Left 4 Dead on this list as well. Which, again, like I think if you play multiplayer, technically, yeah.
Jesus, you're putting enough hours into that, Pete?
No.
676.7 hours. And you still haven't got all the achievements yet.
No, I wouldn't do that.
See,
have a
this
very
article here has Dead by Daylight at number 2 and Left 4 Dead 2 at number 1.
Okay.
I can get behind that.
Mm.
Sure.
What's your favourite of the asymmetrical games?
I mean, Step by Daylight. Well, I really enjoyed Left 4 Dead 2. The only bad thing about it in the multiplayer sense is that it was a game that, at least to me, you could get very angry very quickly because playing as the infected felt very fiddly to me. Like I was just like, oh, I was like very slightly off, and then I'm dead because of it. Like on a hunter, just like, oh, I very accidentally, like the tip of my hoodie just clipped this wall, so I just stopped dead instead of diving onto the survivor. So I landed 30 feet away from them, so they just shoot me. But that's probably me. I just sucked at it.
What about you, Jacob?
I'm going to say something different. I'm going to go with Predator Hunting Grounds.
And that's also what Tony just put in the chat as well.
It is so much fun playing as a Predator than trying to kill the squad of 4. But that being said, it is just as much fun. They've been in the squad and trying to kill the one Predator. So yeah, that has been my favourite out of all of them. I played a lot of them. Ghostbusters is fun. I want to put more time into it. And Dead by Daylight is definitely a really good multiplayer game. But the only problem is you could play it by yourself with some random players online. The quality of team you get is going to be very mixed.
Yeah, solo queues, I mean, for a reason.
I never quite got into like all those cards that you have in Dead by Daylight, like the abilities. Like there's so many of them. I just found it a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Silly. There you go. I think my top pick would be Predator Hunting Grounds as well, actually, because it brings back kind of fond memories of playing it at like 6 o'clock in the morning on that first charity stream. It's quite far down this. I feel like that's quite a niche one as well. And there was that time as well where we had somebody from one of the devs in the chat as well, which was really cool. I remember we had a key for this when it first came out, and Tony being stuck in a lobby for ages trying to play because everyone wanted to play as the Predator.
Right, okay. Wasn't it a PlayStation exclusive first, or?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
It was also on Epic.
There's what?
It was on Epic Store.
Ah, yes. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because everyone loves the Epic Store.
I like how as well, like the format is you just get in as a team, you do an objective, and you get out, whilst the Predator is just kind of like doing his own thing. Whereas with like Friday the 13th, you all generally kind of split up, go off and do your own thing, and then maybe one or two of you escape. So I think I like that almost like team-based element of the Predator one. And obviously Predator is really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered most of them that my Google search has thrown up. I said Texas Chainsaw Massacre looked kind of fun, but that's another one that I think just came and went.
Yeah, it's not doing too hot, I don't think.
No. I think you might like the Ghostbusters one. That is fun.
From what I've seen, it looked fun, yeah.
Well,
Oh,
the text has changed on what would help. Well, what may persuade you is free on Game Pass.
Oh, is
That's
it?
true, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I will play it. I just opened up Game Pass and I thought I saw Gears of War stuff then, but it's was Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah, they're really pushing that game for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh, it's a big IP, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Call of Duty was eventually going to make its way to Game Pass. It was just going to be which one was going to do it first.
So, if it went to a popular vote, then Predator Hunting Grounds would be the best asymmetrical game. But I think logically, I would give it to Dead by Daylight, especially in terms of longevity.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
I'm interested to
Since
see.
2016.
Yeah, I mean that's impressive. Like it would be hit in 10 years before you know it, and it's still got a really big player base.
Well, this year it's gone onto a brand new engine as well.
Oh, is it? I didn't actually know that.
Yeah. Well, it was just through I looked into it. So it was on Unreal 4 up until this year. Now it's on Unreal 5.
Okay. They don't have any need to ever make a Dead by Daylight 2, do they?
Not really, no.
You just keep updating that one, can't you?
Yeah.
Right, well, that was Asymmetrical Games. Thank you both for hanging out and for humouring me as the temporary host. I'm sure Matt will be back next week or whenever we next meet. He was living at large down in London the last couple of days. I will be in London tomorrow, and it is set to be like 30 degrees. So I can't really say I'm looking forward to that, to be honest.
Oh, that sounds like hell.
Yeah.
And it's for work as well. I'm not even going down there for fun.
Oh, God. That's even worse.
They're buying me lunch, apparently. So I'm not sure
Make
it's
sure
worth it, though.
Depends what the lunch is. If it's going to be that hot, hopefully it'll be plenty of ice cream.
I'm sure I could ask for ice cream. But anyway, thank you, Jacob. And that was a nice noise.
Yeah. I think the mic didn't back up.
Thank you, Pete.
Yeah, about it.
Thank you, Tony. And thank you, me. And Matt, we'll see you back here next week. You can take over hosting. But for now, ta-ta.
Bye.
Epic Talio.